I'm going to jump to my favorite part of the show, which is showing you crazy shit tweeted by the transformed wife. You know you love it. Let's talk about this one right here. Let's blow this up so you can see it. This is from the transformed wife. Again, there's no this is not a continuation of a story. This is just a standalone tweet. The pastor at our last church sent his sons to the local public high school. His wife told me it was the most oppressive place she'd ever stepped foot on. Why would anyone who claims the name of Christ send their children to some place that is oppressive? This means that demonic activity is alive and well. I have felt this before, and it's terrifying. Get your children out from the demonic public schools and colleges now. Protect their souls. One, there's no pastor. Tell us the name of the pastor. I want to know what this guy did. Why did he send his kids to public schools if he's so worried about them? But also, why are public schools oppressive? You got to explain what they found so damn problematic about public schools. Like, was it the classes? Was it sex education? Was it something else? What is it that you have a problem with? Because every time I hear conservative anybody's complain about public schools, and it's always the same kind of accusations. Teachers are trying to groom their kids. Students are, they have kitty litter boxes because they're all furries, and it's all hoaxes, and none of it's true. And they can never point to any school that's actually doing that sort of thing. And maybe they're upset about books that kids have to read because they're challenging and not Kevin Sorbo kids books or something. But it's all BS. I'm telling you this as a former public school teacher. Teachers do not have time to do anything besides the stuff they actually got to get done. You think I have time to get your kid to change genders? No one has that kind of time in a public school. Also, your kid's not, we don't care about that sort of thing. We're not interested in your kids. We don't care what gender they choose to be, whatever they are. Like, no one's thinking about that. We have too much to do. Teachers have a lot to do. So again, I go back to why is it oppressive? No idea. I don't know what she's talking about. And then here's a different tweet. Same lady, because again, she's crazy. Again, this just comes out of nowhere. She just starts the middle of the story before ever starting the beginning. He's a pastor and has 5 young children. His wife died soon after his 5th baby was born 2 years ago. Yikes. He's marrying a precious young woman today that we know and love. It's going to be a great day celebrating the marriage of 2 becoming 1. God created a beautiful love story for them. God created a beautiful love story for a pastor and a young woman whose age is weirdly not mentioned, but young is. And the beautiful love story involves a wife who died after 5 kids. I do not understand Christians who call that a beautiful love story. Like, the wife died. How come none of you seem to care about that? That doesn't seem like a happy ending. Like, come on, have the sense to say, okay, it's a tragedy, but they turned it into something positive. I understand that. And I'm not mad at the pastor for getting remarried. That makes sense. But don't call it a beautiful love story when there's a death involved. It's kind of like those people who say, there was a hurricane in my city, but at least God allowed the church to stay upright, or he left the Bible intact. It's like 72 people just died in the hurricane. This is not a happy story. I think Mrs. Betty Bowers on Twitter said something like, thanking God for allowing you to survive. A miracle is like thanking a serial killer for going after, your neighbors next door. Like, no, you're kind of missing the bigger picture here. Stop giving thanks to God for something this horrific. I did have one more tweet for you, and then I swear I'm done. And I'm only sharing this because I had to look at this. So I want you to look at this. And then I want this image to be in your head for the next several days until we do this live stream again. From Joshua Feuerstein. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Known this guy for years. No idea how to pronounce his name. Joshua Feuerstein, usually the MAGA backward hat dude who got mad at Starbucks for having red cups over Christmas. who once told his fans, give me like $20,000 to buy a camera for my videos. And then it just never appeared again. Nothing better than a hot bath while listening to Ted Cruz on a podcast. Life is good. You guys. He wants you to imagine him having a hot bath, and his choice for how to relax in a hot bath is listening to Ted Cruz. I don't care if it's a podcast. No one has ever said, I'm going to relax by listening to Ted Cruz. Never. Ted Cruz's wife will not relax by listening to Ted Cruz. And yet this dude, whose whole thing is gay people and trans people are bad and evil, is like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take off all my clothes, light up some candles, listen to Ted Cruz in my ears. Life is good. What is wrong with these guys?